In the remote deserts and mountains of Arizona, tales are whispered about skinwalkers, figures feared for their dark, supernatural powers. Rooted in Navajo lore, skinwalkers are witches or shamans who have crossed into the forbidden. They're said to be shapeshifters, able to assume the form of animals, wolves, coyotes, owls, creatures that stalk in the night. But these aren't just ordinary animals. They move with an unnatural fluidity, their eyes glinting with a sinister intelligence that's unmistakably human. Stories abound of strange sightings, even close encounters with these beings. One story tells of a young Navajo man driving alone on a dark desert road late at night. The highway stretched out, empty and silent under the moonlight, when he noticed a shape on the side of the road. A coyote, watching him with unsettling focus. He tried to ignore it, pressing harder on the gas. But when he looked back in the rearview mirror, the animal was no longer there. Instead, it was running beside his car, keeping pace with him. Its eyes glowed in eerie yellow as they locked onto his, and he felt a chill run down his spine. Desperately, he sped up, but no matter how fast he went, it stayed with him, its form blurring into something human-like. Just as he was about to lose control of the car, the creature veered off into the desert, vanishing without a trace. Another tale involves a rancher who lived in isolation, surrounded by miles of barren land. He often heard scratching at his windows at night, followed by the soft padding of footsteps. When he finally summoned the courage to look, he saw the shape of a tall, shadowy figure moving across his yard on two legs, stopping to stare back at him with piercing eyes. The figure's face was twisted, stretched, as though it were wearing the skin of something or someone else. The rancher locked himself inside, staying up until dawn, but when he went outside the next morning, he found enormous clawed footprints around his home, leading back into the desert. One of the most terrifying aspects of the skinwalker legend is that they can mimic not only the voices of your loved ones, but also their appearance. There are stories of people seeing a family member standing outside their home at night, motionless, staring through the window with empty, unnatural eyes. But when they rush inside to warn their family, they find that person asleep in bed, oblivious to the eerie copy standing outside. No one knows what happens if you open the door and let that mimic inside. Few dare to try. A young woman once heard her brother's voice calling to her from the woods late one night, but when she went outside, she found only silence and shadows. Her brother was asleep inside, completely unaware. People who have encountered skinwalkers describe a suffocating sense of dread, a feeling that something far more sinister than any animal or human lurks just out of sight. Others say that if a skinwalker manages to learn your name, it gains power over you. People who have had run-ins with them report hearing faint whispers of their own names late at night, carried on the desert winds. It's never loud, barely more than a murmur, but enough to chill the blood and make them wonder if they're being hunted. Those unlucky enough to hear their names spoken sometimes fall ill, their bodies weakened as if drained of energy. Others experience vivid nightmares, seeing twisted, animalistic forms looming over them, always watching, always waiting. Some Navajo elders warn that even acknowledging the skinwalkers aloud or looking them directly in the eyes invites them into your life. They say skinwalkers can latch onto a person's spirit, haunting them, feeding on their fear. They may follow you for weeks, months, or even years, hiding in shadows, lingering just out of sight. People who become haunted by skinwalkers are often racked by paranoia, constantly looking over their shoulders, knowing that something malevolent is lurking just behind them. To this day, Navajo families keep their homes protected with charms, herbs, and rituals meant to ward off skinwalkers, and they warn travelers to do the same. For those who dare wander into skinwalker territory, the warnings are clear. Stay inside at night, avoid the eyes in the dark, and never answer the voice that calls your name from the shadows. In some cases, skinwalkers are known to mark their territory with eerie symbols scratched into trees or carved into rocks near homes. Ranchers have found animals mutilated in unexplainable ways, their bodies arranged in symbols or patterns meant to send a message. The livestock are left in pieces, as though torn apart by something far more powerful than any wild animal. The symbols themselves carry a curse, and those who disturb them report a wave of bad luck and sickness that befalls their families, leaving them desperate and afraid. Travelers and campers near the Four Corners region are often warned to stay indoors after dark, to avoid looking out into the wilderness at night. For in the Black Desert, the Skinwalkers roam, their shapes shifting in the darkness, forever watching, forever waiting.